Okay, it says recording. Welcome everybody to this November Sunflower State Libraries program. We are honored to have our guest, Christi McKenzie, who's talking to us from a real life public library today.
Yes, I am.
Definitely has a stellar turnout for bingo today.
Yes,
so let's get
live,
underway. Hi.
Live and lively.
Yeah, lively. Okay, well, let's get started. I'll ask the first question for today's program. Would you please introduce yourself?
Hi. Hi, I'm Christi McKenzie, and I am the director at the Rossville Community Library. I've been here about 4 years. The first year, the library ran me, and then I was gonna be all in charge the next year, and then COVID, and I wasn't in charge. So this year, I'm going to be in charge, is my hope. Rossville is a small town outside of Topeka. We are a township library. Our population in our city is a little over 1,000. We are the home of the Rossville Bulldogs. Our school is a feeder school from Delia, which is in Jackson County, Valencia neighborhood, which is in Shawnee County also. And we have students from Potawatomi County also. So it's a very mixed community, so which is really exciting. We are also the home of the Tall Corn Festival that happens in August. It's a festival been around for about 100 years. So Rossville likes to celebrate corn. Football.
Excellent. And you've got a pool that one of your children helped build, right? That's what I thought was an awesome story.
We do have a community pool, and it was my son Nicholas was one of the chairs, and he was about 10 when they started. And it's very exciting. And we work with Shawnee County to operate the pool. And it's just a really nice community pool next to a very nice city park. So it's a good place. Our grandstands are one of the last covered grandstands made out of wood, and it celebrates its 100th year next summer.
Oh, cool.
So that's really cool. It's been featured in Sports Illustrated once.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, football's important around there, isn't it?
It is, but that's done. We're moving on. Wasn't the season we hoped for, so on to basketball, wrestling, and all those other things. Yeah.
Okay, well, let's move on. So that kind of hits a little bit about a taste of Rossville and a taste of the library. Let me advance slide. So let's talk a little bit about operations. Can you describe how your library operates, kind of like the hours, staffing, board, that kind of stuff?
So we are a township library, which is a little bit different. So is Silver Lake in our county. We are open every morning at 9, Monday through Saturday. Monday through Thursday, we close at 6 p.m. On Friday, we close at 4:30, and on Saturdays, 9 to noon. I am the only full-time person. The rest of the staff is part-time, and we have 4 part-time employees. And I have to tell you that we work our tails off. Anyway.
And that's one of your part-timer staffers, Russell, who's been at the library in that photo in the background, kind of looking over. He's a big part of the library, I'm sure, because he's been around for a while.
Yes, Russell and Adina worked here before I did, and they often know a little bit more than I do. So I'm so glad that they are here to help me, because I always have questions.
I love how you said that you were going to be in charge, and then COVID was in charge, and now it's your turn.
I'm still not in charge, as we alluded to right before we started the Zoom meeting. Somebody threw open the library, so being in charge is only a figment of my imagination.
Yeah, no joke. It's a busy day around there. I was wondering before we moved on, if you're in you and Silver Lake, kind of an interesting situation, because you have the Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library, who kind of cover the whole county, but yet you two libraries are also part of it. Can you explain just how that works, if you've wrapped your head around how that goes?
There's some taxing things that went in there when that was passed by the Shawnee County voters. So taxes that go to the Shawnee County Library from our township, they match half of our original budget. So we end up with 1/3 of our budget comes from Shawnee County Public Library tax. And because Rossville and Silver Lake were already established when they did that. So that way it passed with the voters so that not all their money, tax dollars, went to Topeka, to a library that they probably weren't going to use as often. But we do have a great partnership with them, and they're very supportive.
Cool. Yeah, I was going to ask, but we do have time for partnerships later. So if we don't, we might want to cover more of that.
Sure.
Let's go ahead and move on because we can talk about some of the great things that have happened with your physical space. Let me advance my slide. What can you tell us about the facilities and that space that crazy space you're inhabiting today?
So so when you live somewhere and you see it all the time, sometimes you just don't notice it. You just accept it. You're just used to seeing it. And when I came to the library, it's kind of dated, and it was, let's just say, ugly. One person even called it a prison facade, which was kind of heartbreaking. But when you look at it, look at that old picture. There's no windows in the front, one entrance, brick. It does kind of look like a prison. They had put on an addition in the late 80s, but it didn't really match. So we worked with Nichols and Sabatini Architects and came up with that new building in the top. That was just taken at Tall Corn at the Main Street Parade this year. So it's a real picture. And so we were able to put on a new facade and get rid of that horrible, terrible chute of a place that the doors, you couldn't even get through it with a stroller. So we have a brand new facade in front. It's very opening. It's very welcome. We now have a ramp, so you can actually get in the door if you need to. And we were able to reuse the letters, which did save us some dollars. And we painted the building so they match. So it looks like one whole unit instead of two separate little buildings. And it's just changed the way that you feel when you come up to the library. And we try to think of the library into every aspect of how you enjoy it or how you see it. Outside, we added some new tables and benches. You can access the library hotspot from there, and it's always busy out there. Even at 2 o'clock in the morning, somebody is out using it. And we did that with the ARPA money, and it's just been a really nice addition to the library. It's very welcome.
Created some outdoor space out. That's out back, correct?
Right. On the north side, and then actually in the front. But our library hotspot, we average about 950 people a month who log on and use the library hotspot.
That sounds like a lot.
It is a lot.
And I do want to mention just how modernized that change to the facade, having visited in person and been at both ways of entering the building, the old and the new way. So it definitely dramatically improved that. I wondered, and I think we'll have time for this. We talked a little bit about Sabatini's. For anybody who's kind of starting that project, can you just give us, like, I don't know, 2 minutes of like what that was like, and the design process and all of that?
It was really great. They did a really good job of listening to us and what our needs were, and also what was our limitations on our budget. We had money in savings, and we got a grant from the Rossville Community Foundation for $50,000. So the facade update was $92,000, and they really listened to us and looked for ways to cut corners. And it really was just really great. And they brought up things that I had never thought about, like making the building one whole color. It was like, that just makes so much sense.
Yeah.
I was very, very pleased. I didn't feel pushed. I didn't feel rushed. And I didn't feel like they were trying to make the Rossville Library into something that it was not.
And speaking of facilities still, that wasn't the final project, because you're still working on changing things on the inside. Can you tell us just a little bit about what's going on with that?
So we took advantage of some of our COVID time. First of all, the ceiling tiles had not ever been updated since the library began on the old side, and I'm pretty sure that was when you could smoke in the library. So the ceiling tiles were really dingy, and so we changed all the ceiling tiles, which wasn't a big expense but had a big impact. We took out all of the fluorescent lighting. It's all now LED lighting, including these dreadful 8-foot long fluorescent tubes lighting. That was just horrible and hard to change. So that made it newer and brighter. Our whole library was painted 1980s taupe, and we didn't get rid of all of the taupe, but I got on Sherwin-Williams and I typed in our color and what would match it and came up with a couple colors. So we have some indigo and some like light grayish blue, which kind of just modernized it. We took out the paneling that was on the pony wall from the 1980s or 70s. That made it more modern too. Oh, a pony wall is a half wall, if you don't know. Our circulation desk was off to the side, kind of, I don't know. It was like we were like behind a barrier watching the rest of the library like we were like security guards. So that's kind of what it felt like. We were kind of unapproachable. So now we're in the center of the library. We have a brand new circulation desk. I got a grant for that from the Potawatomi tribe, and it's wonderful, and it just fits our needs. It's right in the center. So we are part of the library, and we can provide that monitoring just by our proximity. So that's really helped a lot. We're a part of what's happening.
Yeah.
And, so that's been great. We also got new carpet. We went with carpet tiles. We did some different patterns, different colors. So each area is divided, you can tell. And then our big update lately was we redid our bathroom, which was horrid. It was like a gross, I mean, it was clean, but it was like a nice, clean garage bathroom. So when they took out the urinal, they actually left the pipe like in the tube. You could see it, and they put a podium in front of it. I don't know if you're supposed to practice your speech while in there. I don't know. It was weird. So completely redone, ceramic tile all around, wainscoting about 4 feet up, new on the floor, new paint, a new ceiling fan. The other one was scary, actually scared children. It was so loud. A new square sink, so it's really modern. We went with nickel finishes on our faucets, and our switch plates, our light switch plates are stainless steel now, which is really easy to clean, and it looks more modern. So like I said, we try to think of your library experience from the parking lot to the front door to the circulation desk to when you're in the library, and even the restroom.
Yeah.
And so it's really been good. And I am not afraid to scrounge around. And if somebody says, I have free stuff, I got tables from Topeka Shawnee County Library, I drove to Johnson County and got some new furniture, I got a table from Silver Lake. So I'm just not afraid at all. So if it's something that we need, then I'm going to go after it, especially because we don't have a large budget, but we like nice things too.
All right, well, let's move on away from facilities, even though we could go on. Honestly, we could go on at least another.
Anyway, come out and hang out with us.
We'll get a
coffee and we'll look at our stuff.
Cool. Yeah, it is. And if you don't know, Rossville's downtown. It's got a great little strip, and they've got speakers and music, usually country, playing just downtown. And they've got a coffee shop and all that. It's right off I-70. You can cross the bridge if you want to go that way, and it's a great little drive.
We actually have 2 new restaurants. Woo, just
cool.
Yep.
All right, let's talk about some programs. The first one is, it looks like we're talking about story time.
Story times. So we have IT and story time to Tuesday mornings at 10. I also go to 3 daycares a week and do story time there. In the summertime, we do a STEM lab day on Thursdays, which I partner with K-State Extension Office in Shawnee County because they had 2 interns, which was awesome for me because they did all the programming and all they had to do was supervise. This is actually Coda, and he is the Rossville grade school therapy dog. So he comes in the summer and does story time with us. The kids love him. And then the picture with the food, I made a flat Coda, and when I go on vacation, I take flat Coda with me on my adventures, and the kids follow flat Coda. So that's flat Coda stowing away on an airplane. So that's our story times, and they're really busy, and yeah, they keep me hopping. But the daycares have been great because at least you have an audience. And like today, I was like, great, only 1 kid is here, fantastic. So it's to start at 10. 10:03, like 15 people come. I'm like, okay, so much for nobody being here today. So that's okay too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So more programs. I love the colors on here. We've got a second slide of this too. Let's tell us about what we're looking at here.
Sometimes I have like these really crazy dumb ideas that work out. So I started collecting plastic bottle caps in the community. They love to collect stuff for us. And so they brought them in, and this picture we made, I went over to the 5th grade and they made wind chimes, which was super easy to do. And they stacked them and then we hung them in our foyer. And so there's the picture looking through them. We made a sign outside, has big tall letters that were, there they are, 4 feet tall, and it said "Be kind," and it was outside, and it looks so cool. And people would stop and take pictures with it, so that was awesome. And then we're working with the high school, and I took caps over to them, and they are doing art projects, which will later be on display in the library. So the one girl, she's making a frog, and the boy actually built a skateboard and used the caps on his skateboard, and it is rideable. He showed it to me. So
that's great.
Yeah, it's been really fun, and it's just, and like, it's art from like stuff you throw away.
Yeah.
So, and actually,
how many caps do you think you had to collect for a program?
we have thousands.
Thousands, and you still have them.
We still have them, and actually they still keep coming in. And my volunteer Harold is at a nursing home, and I took the caps to him and he sorted them by color.
Oh wow.
Block bags. So he's since passed away this summer. He was 92, but he was a Friends of the Kansas Library Volunteer of the Year once, and he did all of our program cutting. So I would utilize his service in the nursing home because he wanted to be busy, and it was a really great friendship, not just a partnership. Yeah. So I've since found some more people who are retired who like to do things, and my staff hates cutting out stuff for programming.
Yeah,
and kind of
time consuming.
Yeah.
Those letters are really cool. It kind of reminds me of what you see these days. Not that I go to many weddings, but when my niece and nephew got married, they had like their last name in those real tall letters and kind of floral bouquets built. So it kind of reminds me of that, but the colors are just great. Can you tell us
$40
and recreate? Are those on wood letters or?
It was wood. It was like $40 in like a plywood from Menards. And then the caps. So we learned a little bit. First, I tried to use Gorilla Glue, which did work, but they didn't stick because the caps are smooth and slick. So the caps fell off. So then I used hot glue, which that worked really great until it was 110 degrees outside in August. And then the hot glue got soft. So then the caps fell off. So if you were going to make it like permanent, like the boy on the skateboard, he screwed them in.
Yeah.
The art teacher, Mr. Larson, he's also there's, I don't know exactly how this is, but they're little metal pieces you put in the plastic and you heat it up and it melts, and it's something you use on like hot rods. So they're making like lampshades and all kinds of things. But the letters, we had 2-year-olds that were putting them on. So it was all ages, and
cool.
It was, and then people came back and they wanted to know if they could find their cap. I was like, I'm sure it's out there. Anyway, so that was kind of funny. But anyway.
Yeah. So here's a couple more programs. I was calling this gaming and snacks. Kind of like what you're doing today in the bottom right. Looks like you're playing some bingo.
So we always have games and puzzles out. And we used to do a specific game time. And now they're just always out. And they'll ask us to play games with us. So that's actually Russell playing Risk. He likes that game, and so do they. And in the middle is snack time, which is every day after school from 3:30 to 4:30. And you can stop in and grab a snack. They are not necessarily nutritious because, who wants that? And so that is a partnership with the Friends of the Rossville Library and the Rossville Christian Church. Helps to pay for that. And the kids come in, and we average about 40 kids every day after school who come in. They either grab a snack, and a lot of them stay and use the computer or play games or run around outside. So
Yeah.
it's been a really good thing. And the bottom is kids bingo. We have had adult bingo for a long time. And the kids asked if they could have bingo. And I was like, all right. And so we actually have bingo today. It started at 1. A lot of those kids are homeschool kids, and we have a private school in Maple Hill, which is in Wabunsee County. They go to St. John Vianney, and they do not have school on Tuesdays and Thursdays. They're homework days. And so it's kind of it's a homeschool kids and some private school kids, and it's really fun. So, and the prizes are all just candy mostly.
Yeah.
That's
But
kind
you're getting them in the door.
they're in the door. Yeah.
Here's another great program with a really hard to reach group.
Yes. This is really fun. We have the Main Street Bookies, which is a senior group. They meet once a month, but once a year in the spring, we do seniors to seniors. So we partner with Rossville High School. This last year was the college bound class, and we read Killers of the Flower Moon together. And so we all come together and we discussed the book. It was a wonderful discussion, and we share the book. And this is our 4th or 5th year, I can't remember. But it's just fantastic. And it's just such a great connection. And they love it. The kids love it. They get a different perspective. The older people get a different perspective too of the same book. And it's just great. So in the big picture, the man on the end in a suit, he's a retired journalism professor from Kansas University, and he always comes. He's got so he's really insightful, and he knows so much. So it's really great. And the Killers of the Flower Moon, the kids liked it so much that they went back to the high school and requested a classroom set to be used because they felt like everyone should read that book. So,
well, and you've kind of mentioned this multiple times through different programs, but very multi-generational. Is that something that you try to do with your programs, or it just kind of happens?
It started, it's intentional, yes. And it also, I mean, I thought of that program because I wanted to connect, and then I think it grows upon itself. When we talk about, you read so much about seniors being lonely and that it being a leading cause of death for seniors. I'm like, what can libraries do about that? We are a free facility. What can we do to help people? So we've really tried to outreach to the seniors and to do things to bring them in. And we do a lot of Facebooking, but of course seniors don't. So we have to think about how else are we going to reach them. And oddly, in Rossville and maybe other small towns are like this, it's the bulletin board at the post office. It's the one that everybody sees. So we really try to put our information on the bulletin board at the post office. So, and I try to make sure I know people's names and we remember, and we do deliver books to people's homes if they need it. And then we have some that are, sometimes this makes me crazy, but they're like, Christi, just pick me some books. So I try. So I do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
We had a great question from down Linden. Unfortunately, it looks like they lost their bulletin board at the post office. Who knew that was such a hot space? So do you have any other ways that you find that you're successful at reaching out to the seniors besides the post office board?
Of course, the senior center is a great place. And then ours isn't as active as it used to be. I wish that it was. And there is a bulletin board at the grocery store. And then really the coffee shop, which we mentioned, I will go down to Grounded, and there's usually a group of seniors down there. And sometimes I'll just go down and I'll just hang out for about 40 minutes. And they're like, Christi, what's happening at the library? Can you tell us? And I'm just my own soapbox, and I just talk about what we're doing. So I just try to just kind of be where they are. And you know some of your influencers, and I try to really stay in touch with them.
Yeah. All right, 5 minutes to go.
All right. So more
No stress.
No problem. So
partnerships.
VITA is voluntary income tax assistance. We are lucky enough to partner with Shawnee County Research and Extension, and we offer free tax services. We do ours the first Saturday of February, March, and April. There are 6 preparers who come out. Last year, we held 91 people submitted their taxes with the Rossville Library. If you even just think about that's $225 average that you would spend to have your taxes prepared, how much money they saved, let alone the money that they returned. It's just fantastic. And all we have to do is open the space. I feed the volunteers because I want them to come back, and I give them donuts and coffee from Casey's. But it's a really good program, and it's open to anybody. You can come anywhere from Kansas and come there. The other one, the Stormont Vale Mobile Health Clinic that just started, I serve on a board, and we were talking about they closed our clinic. So they come now twice a month. They park on the north side of the library. We're kind of the waiting room for the mobile clinic. But wow, so you can come, you can get your lab work done on Wednesday. And if you have to see your primary doctor on Thursday, you have your lab work already done. I went out there just myself because I had a sinus infection from KLA and I had laryngitis, and it was fantastic. So I'm super proud of that. And then the girl in the middle, we partner with Call Valley Special Services for Transition to Learn. And we have special needs students who come and they do jobs for us. She is actually testing the markers to get rid of the bad ones. We have a student who comes once a week. She buffs all the CDs. She has autism. Anyway, it's just another great way for us to reach out in our community. The grade school is not too far away. They always ask about doing stuff with us, and they like to do library tours because there will be some student who will say, I didn't know where the library was, even though they drive by it all the time.
Yeah.
This is a note that they gave us. So I thought that was really sweet. We do a lot of things with the grade school because it is within walking distance. So I do preschool story time once a month. So that's like 45 kids, 50 kids. I do kindergarten story time once a month. That's another 40 kids. And then I do special programs, whatever they need them. I put my story walks down there when they have a parent teacher conference. So we try to be like in your face as much as we can. So people like go, oh, the library, I didn't know that they had all that cool stuff. So
yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
Back to your Topeka and Shawnee County Public Library.
Mhm.
Is there any kind of highlights that you can give about what that's like to have a huge one branch library system down, well, not down the road, but down the highway, and being in the same county as them?
So some things are kind of funny because people come in and they'll say, well, I can find the Topeka Library. I said, you know what? If you can get to the Topeka Library, you can get to the Rossville Library. And they're like, really? Why? I'm like, because we have the courier. It comes every day, and we can get things anywhere in the state of Kansas. Do not think about your library as being 4 walls. Think about your library as being the state of Kansas, the 4 boundaries. So some ways we kind of compete with them, but other ways it's really great to so we go down and do some special programming with them when they do like preschool things. We'll go down and actually set up a table down there and offer some programming. And the other resource, of course, is Sean Bird, but he's at Washburn University. But when I had a question about, like, I had a little boy who would poop in his pants, I needed some advice, I needed some policy advice, I'll call the Topeka Library, and they always are helpful. So it's been good.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. They are a great resource to have in our region. Well, anything else, Christy, you want to plug while you've got listeners and people on YouTube down in the future that will hear about it? Any final words?
I just want to say that libraries do amazing things, and we need to shout it from the rooftops so people know how fantastic we are, because I think sometimes people just don't know all the wonderful things that we do. So I want to thank everybody and give everybody a high five. So.
Yeah, high five to you all for all of your great work. And Christy, it's clear that you do shout it out. You know, you maybe don't have the biggest budget, but you're putting the foot to the pavement, obviously, whether it's rooting for the nice tables or trying to get those seniors signed up. So kudos to you. It was really great to hear about everything you're doing over there, and we'll come visit. All of us surely will come visit soon. So take care, everybody. I think we'll probably skip a program in December, and maybe we'll come back strong with something like this next year. So happy Thanksgiving, Festivus, and all of the Christmases and all things like that. Again, Christi, thank you for being here. Folks, we'll go ahead and end now, and we'll see you some other time.
All right, see ya.
Bye.